Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. This is your privacy, security, AI, business, and our SillyVille editions of the Weekly News Roundup. Thanks for coming along. You can catch the show live 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can see all of the in-between stuff, the comments, participate in the show, and whatnot. And catch any of the other channel updates, which are usually done on the live streams on Thursdays at 7 when we have them, and Fridays at 8, which we usually do have them. And with that, let's go ahead and jump on over into our privacy news now. Well, if it wasn't bad enough that we had Apple stalkers all over the place, now we'll have cheaper, more prolific Android stalkers too. Is this so amazing for the stalker community to be able to get now cheaper devices to stalk even more people, even better? In fact, they even have an app down here where you can actually say what they are, and you can be like, house key, family tablet, car keys, Alessa's wallet, Julie, Sandy, Kelly. You can track all of the people you're into. You might even be able to set up notifications, so if they're coming in close proximity to each other, you can make yourself like a ghost. So in all honesty, though, Android is finally releasing their Bluetooth trackers. You can get these from a number of different companies, and the updates in the latest Android systems all account for these. Of course, this now means that there are more devices available to stalk you. And the sad thing is that now, in order to make sure that you're not being stalked, you have to carry around a smartphone with Bluetooth perpetually enabled, which is something you should not be doing. And then you need to wait around and see if little devices are stalking you. I think somebody needs to manufacture a small, cheap device, which is just a little thing which determines if there is one of these trackers nearby you for people that have zero interest in smartphones or leaving Bluetooth on perpetually. So they're, of course, trying to say, we are going to consider stalking type stuff, but there's really nothing implemented in these that hasn't already been tried and failed. So just be aware that now there are more AirTag-like devices which can be used to stalk people. And they have them in really small, tiny ones with an 8-month battery life, all the way up to ones with full-fledged rechargeable batteries in them. So you have a lot of fun different options in there for all of your stalking needs. This is just nonsense, guys. Why do we need this? If you lose your keys that much, just go take some courses in conscientiousness. Okay. So there's that. This is a fun one. Insurers are spying on your home from the sky. This was a fascinating article too. As you read through it, it kind of got deeper and deeper. I think there should have been a more info. Wait, where are we at? Oh, it's one of these articles that just scrolled itself up. Oh, there it is. Okay, got to push the continue reading button. So what this has to do with is house insurance, particularly this article applied to house insurance or homeowners insurances. So now they're basically using drones and satellite imagery to have a look at your house and deny or cancel your coverage based on things they see. Oh, that roof looks really old. In one case, they said, well, your roof has a short life expectancy. The person brought in an actual roofing expert that said, no, this roof has another 10 years of life. And the insurance company did not want to keep the insurance on the house for that reason. So it's becoming this case where these insurance companies are just getting absolutely crazy. Of course, we're all sitting here going, well, this is really good. This is really good for the industry, until they actually start interviewing another person down here who is an ex-insurance person. And it says, Brink, who worked for farmers in Michigan, said some customers were dropped based on aerial images that were 2 or 3 years old. One person wasn't renewed because of a roof despite being brand new. In another case, part of the image that farmers said showed tree limbs that turned out to just be shadows. The final straw came when Brink saw her own home flagged in a farmer's image because of a tree branch overhanging her barn. She switched insurers and switched jobs. So, this is good. This is good. Wait. You're using this technology on me? No. You can't use it on me. This is bad. So I think that we with the proliferation of drones and other things, we do need to start passing some regulation about what you can do with aerial pictures and with drones flying overhead. For example, if I own 5 acres out in the middle of the woods and some guy's flying a drone back and forth, Paul, I'll be busting out something with 1, 2, and G in it, and I will be doing a little bit of target practice. And oh, there was a drone there. I'm so sorry. I hit your drone. My apologies. No, you may not trespass on my property to get the carcass of your drone. Keep your drones off of my property. There's a thought, which, by the way, that's not legal advice. Don't do that. It's probably illegal. It is in many places. But basically, they're using drones to spy on people's houses. Homeowners and or homeowners associations are doing this as well. There's all sorts of weird crap going on with people utilizing drones to fly around people's property, which should not be allowed in any way, shape, or form. So just be aware that your insurer might be spying on you from the sky. So make sure you get some like EMP cannon. You see a drone, boom, pop it out of the sky. Like, I don't know what happened to it. Jeez, I was watching this drone. It just started collapsing. I don't know, man, because it's kind of creepy when a drone gets up there. All right, this one's funny because it's like, Wired is such a left-wing rag. Like, the headline itself, Trump loyalists kill vote on U.S. wiretap program. Okay, so Section 702, which is the FISA court section of the Patriot Act, was up for another renewal. And of course, they kicked it along a couple months ago, so it's now set to expire again. And now, like, this is literally the FISA court system that allows the FBI to collect data on U.S. citizens under the guise that they're collecting data on non-U.S. citizens, and then utilize such data for their own crazy purposes. And doing so with gag warrants, basically spying on people and doing all forms of unconstitutional things. How do they wire this? Trump loyalists kill the unconstitutional spy program. So the attempt to reauthorize the so-called crown jewel of U.S. spy powers failed for the third time in the House of Representatives after former President Donald Trump criticized the law. So apparently he got on. I don't know if he criticized. Maybe he did criticize it. I don't know. I didn't see his statements. I don't actually watch a lot of what Trump does. So he gets on, though, on Truth Social with his platform, and he says something about this is a really stupid thing. And a bunch of people who generally are Trump supporters or MAGA followers inside of Congress decided, yeah, they're not going to vote for this thing, which is absolutely unconstitutional. The Wired article way down near the bottom gets down into, where is it? Declassified filings released by the FISA court last year revealed that the FBI had misused 702 program more than 278,000 times, including, as reported by the Washington Post, against crime victims, January 6 riot suspects, people arrested at protests after police killing of George Floyd in 2020, and in one case, 12,000 donors to a congressional candidate. So the FBI is regularly using the unconstitutional spy courts, and Donald Trump says, yeah, we probably shouldn't have unconstitutional spy courts. And Wired articles says, this is Trump loyalists, kill the vote. Good. Who are these 19 people? I would probably like to keep them for a while. I think we should go further and ban more unconstitutional searches and seizures. Call me crazy, but I just don't think that Section 702 needs to exist. And if you want to say it's Goldberg Trump, don't care. This should not be a law. It should not have passed the first time. It should not have been renewed 3 months ago. It should not be renewed now. This needs to go away, especially if you start digging into the numbers and you realize that no dragnet program such as this has ever contributed to anything. In fact, if anything, more people have slipped through the cracks because we're too busy collecting too much data. Nobody can analyze it. And then when we have legitimate tips, we're too busy to deal with legitimate tips. So, yeah, we need to maintain privacy, do good old-fashioned police work, and things will work. But I just loved how bad they sounded. It sounded that apparently Wired wants to keep around unconstitutional spy programs. I'm not into unconstitutional spy programs, so let's just go ahead and move over to security before we get political, and I don't really want to do that. Well, if you're running an LG Smart TV, you might be vulnerable to hacking. 91,000 LG Smart TVs running WebOS are vulnerable to hacking. This is the big problem with all these smart TVs, is that the software generally does not last as long as the television itself, and then they become vulnerable. Of course, if you keep the things entirely off of the internet, that can be okay. Of course, it's becoming harder and harder to find one that's not connected up to any of this crap. But they said WebOS runs on ports 3000, 3001 for HTTP, HTTPS, and WSS, which is used by LG ThinkQ smartphone app to control the TV. So we have to have an app on our phone to control the TV. Great. So to set up the app, the user must enter a PIN code in the display, and an error in the account handler lets the attacker skip the PIN verification entirely and create a privileged user profile. So they can basically gain root access to your internet-connected television. The numbers of people in these, the highest impacted is Korea, 47,000. Second, Hong Kong. Third, United States. Fourth, Sweden. And fifth, Finland. And so they had 4 different CVE files on this, all dealing with bypassing and user injections or privilege escalations. So you have all these different things, and the TVs running vulnerable are running WebOS 497, 550, 633, 731. And there are disclosure timelines of November 1st, November 15th, December 14th, March 22nd, and April 9th is the public release. So everybody should be aware of this, but if you have received this and have not thrown out your smart TV and gotten a dumb TV, then go ahead and do that now, or at least patch your device if possible. Now that's if possible. If you are, however, using a DLink NAS device, just take it out in Office Space, I think, because several of these have serious backdoors allowing people from all around the internet to get into your personal files and further into your network. And DLink has come down and said, yeah, those are all end of life. We're not patching those. So there are now a whole bunch of models of DLink. They said 92,000 of these are still on the internet, completely insecure. DNS 320L version 111, 103, 101, DNS 325 version 101, DNS 327L 109, version 1, DNS 340L. These are all out of date. No device, no patches are coming. They are simply not out there. So what I'm going to say, guys, I have a video, a full comprehensive video on using a Raspberry Pi, and you can do it with a regular computer as well, on setting up a program called Open Media Vault. Open Media Vault is a Debian-based network-attached storage that will do the job of this guy on good, current, up-to-date Linux software. You can attach it to your home network. I've been running these for years flawlessly. They are media servers for me. They are file sharers for me. They do all sorts of stuff. Now, there are a few other NAS applications as well. I am not as familiar with those, but there are at least 3 really good Linux or BSD-based NAS systems out there. Other people check the comments. Other people will talk about them. I use Open Media Vault because I'm extraordinarily confident with Debian. So since it's based on Debian, that's what I like to use. So definitely have a look at my videos on OMV if you are looking for a NAS before you buy one of these, because the Western Digital NAS, they have had serious problems because they stopped patching these things. You keep them around for a while, and then you have software that is vulnerable to the internet on the internet, and that raises nothing but problems. Whereas Open Media Vault, you push the upgrade button and it just keeps updating itself, and it never runs out of support. And AT&T, of course, they had their data breach, and they were first saying it was not our fault. No, it wasn't us. It was somebody else. It wasn't us. Well, eventually they were kind of forced to admit, yes, it was indeed them. 51 million accounts were affected, and it's not just current AT&T users. A lot of these were former users going back to 2019. So if you've had an AT&T account in the last, I'd say, decade, you might want to go ahead and see if you were part of the breach. The breach captured social security numbers, names, dates of birth, basically all the information somebody needs to pretend that they are you. Isn't that wonderful? I think it should be banned for a company like AT&T to have this data. And I do think that we need to pass strong laws that if you have stopped doing business with a company, they have 30 days to get all of your information off of any live active server and entirely into cold storage for the duration of the legal requirement to keep that data around. I understand you do business with a company, they need to keep business records for 7 years. There is nothing that says those have to be internet connected and insecure databases where if somebody makes a mistake, those are vulnerable. We have to put an end to that and say, look, I stopped doing business with you. You have 30 days to get my information into an offline cold storage. Go. That's what we need to do. Well, if you want to help support the channel, we do use affiliates. Today we're highlighting Mint Mobile, which is kind of funny because my Razr 2 phone here running Mint Mobile seems to have, its cellular modem seems to have died, I think. I'm still diagnosing the problems. I'm going to give it a couple more days. But in my testing, I popped the SIM card from Mint Mobile out of that. I popped it into my spare backup phone. Booyah! I had a phone again. Isn't that beautiful? So that is the power of Mint Mobile. Of course, I only pay $180 a year for my phone. I have been doing this for years. This is probably the second phone that I have had to cycle through because the cellular modems have died and I'm still using the same SIM card. That's how good Mint Mobile is. No, it's not killing my phones. I think it's a simple matter of I'm taking my phones in and out of cellular service areas and I think I might be stretching them. I don't know. I'll talk more about that later. But anyway, Mint Mobile, if you are looking for a good, cheap cell phone plan, these do use the T-Mobile towers, so make sure you have T-Mobile service where you are. And these are excellent plans. I've been using it now for over 5 years. I have had nothing but good luck with them. TLM.li/MM. These are going to get you your $15 a month, gets you, and you pay these. They're so cheap because you pay them 3, 6, or 12 months in advance. They have 5, 15, 20, and unlimited gigabyte data plans. There's a whole lot you can read. I think these are the new requirements from the FCC that I can't even read this anymore because I'm like looking for calorie counts and fat. So whatever it happens to be, I'm paying $180 a year for my cell phone coverage. And with that, let's go ahead and have a look at our single AI story today. It was just too good not to pass up. From 404. A law firm of AI-generated lawyers is sending fake threats in an SEO scam. This is like layer on top of layer. This is one classic example of why AI probably just needs to be banned. I mean, really. So, what they've done is they've set up a legal company called Commonwealth Legal Services, which doesn't exist. In fact, it is on top of allegedly a 3-story building, and this is the Google picture of the 1-story building. So it doesn't exist. All of the lawyers are all AI-generated images on the site. It is, of course, a very generic theme. But what they've been doing is they've just been finding random websites and sending out a DMCA copyright infringement notice that looks like a legal document threatening things. Only usually they're saying you need to take this down and pay us money or some other crazy thing, blah, 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 or we're going to sue you. What these guys are doing is they're finding images that you may actually be legally allowed to use. And they're saying, well, we have this. You don't have to take the picture down, but you have to put a visible and clickable link to tech4gods.com, which is a AI-generated review site. So now the AI, this is being used to basically threaten people into participating in an SEO scam for more AI-generated garbage, which all needs to be banned from the internet. And this is why we can't have nice things, folks. So this is totally crazy how this unwrapped itself. But there are still going to be people seeing this and like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I'm actually going to have to forward this over. I have a client that actually did in the past apparently use an image way before I took over the project. And it was like a 6-month or so battle with them. I'm going to send this over and see what she says about it. Be kind of funny. But with that, guys, let's head on over to business news next. First up in business section of the news. So this is up there in Canada. So the Great White North, eh? Have here some maple syrup. Bell Canada has been pushing a cloud-based DVR system instead of the local system they have been using for years. And as soon as they push this out to everybody, now they're deleting all of the old programs after 61 days. Now, originally, customers who switched had 365 days to watch and view a recording, but now they only have 61 days. So people had dropped off of the local-based system, which of course nothing automatically deletes, to the cloud-based system after they've been forcing, and now they're just like, well, it's taking too much space now. We have to get rid of this. And so it's causing a lot of issues and things. Right now, they're like, put this deletion on pause because they're getting massive uproar, as mad as Canadians could get anyway. They're like, hey, you, what are you doing? Stop deleting my files. But they don't get any mad at that, do they? But that being said, of course, people are up in arms over the fact that they pushed everyone to the service, promising them a year of saving the data, and they're deleted after only 2 months. This raises the deeper concerns about utilizing other people's cloud storages. It'd be better if you had a means to maybe collect that and store that on your own so that you could actually enjoy it anytime you would want to without relying on anything else. So that is what Bell Canada is up to. If you guys are Canadians, let me know if you've had this experience and things like that. And next up, Apple, after a little bit of fighting back and forth, is now going to allow the reuse of iPhone parts for repairs with a notable catch. Now, this deals with the parts pairing that Louis Rossmann talks about. Now, Apple does make a good point for why parts pairing was a thing. If you had turned on, and I had done this before, I'd purchased a Nexus phone off of somebody on eBay, and it was still locked to the original seller's account, and I could not reset the phone or activate the phone or do anything with the phone until they had released that lock. So I reached back out to them and said, hey, could you unlock that? Like, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to do that. They logged into their account and unlocked it immediately. Well, Apple has the same thing, only when you turn that on Apple, it would prevent your iPhone from being stolen and parted out. So that's the part I had never heard Louis Rossmann talk about. So I steal a phone and I may not access the phone because of this, but I could disassemble the phone and use it for spare parts and repair other phones that I had laying around. The parts pairing Apple was doing, one of the components prevented them from doing that. But there certainly are ways that you can get around that as well. Of course, the problem with Apple is if you did not have it locked in that way, you still could not have it. So I think this is Apple just kind of making something up where it wasn't there. I have a sneaky suspicion that whether or not that Apple device was locked, you could not swap out the parts without the pairing. So they are now allowing you to replace parts back and forth without having to go into Apple and repairing the devices. And this comes right as Colorado Senate is hearing a bill on banning any form of parts pairing, which would be a good law. I believe the Oregon law banned parts pairing that just passed recently. So Apple is seeing the writing on the wall, and they are going ahead and stopping that nonsense. So that is kind of good news, but there are a few little crazy exceptions. And finally, Roku is up to no good. They have filed a patent. Now, this is a patent that's not being used, but chances are they probably will. This deals with televisions running Roku software. Of all of the different TVs, you can buy one with Amazon, you can buy one with Roku, basically the software that is running the back end of the system. Well, if that television is Roku, they are trying to figure out a way to push ads to your television, even through externally connected devices. So it's trying to figure out when you have something paused, and if something is paused, then they can show you an ad. So you're playing a video game, you pause it to get a soda, you come back and you swig down a little bit of your Pepsi while your screen's telling you to drink Coke. So kind of frightening. I mean, I have the same thing though. I have a little Raspberry Pi running the dreaded K-word on a good Linux-based smart application on a TV. And if I pause my movie and go and grab something to drink, which probably wouldn't be a Coke because I'm not into that, they could, in theory, push ads over my K-word box. Crazy. So that being said, this is utter nonsense. And this one thing that the fact they're even floating something is, I will never buy something that's Roku. So unless, of course, something comes out where I can, take that Roku, wipe out Roku, install Linux on the thing. I'll buy the Roku thing in that case if I can install Linux on it. That'd be great. So that is what they're up to, which is a terrifying thing because we have to push ads everywhere, especially in this crazy economy where the economy is so bad we can't even afford anything, but they're still pushing ads on us anyway. I guess it's pushing us into some silent despair. I don't know, whatever you guys think. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. And in the meantime, we're going to move on to your favorite place and mine. Let's have a look at SillyVille. The first one is not tech related. It's just too good to not pass by. This is over in San Francisco, where this scummy tow truck company who's already been fined by the city and banned from any form of city contracts. They are being scumlord tow truck drivers, literally trying to pull up to people waiting at red lights and tow their cars away. Like, what do you like? How do you think this is going to... I have so many questions. Let's just watch the video. This is great.
In the middle of downtown San Francisco, we were basically targeted. And so basically he's just backing up, trying to latch onto our car. And we were freaking out. We were calling. We were like basically rolling down our window saying like, hey, like, what are you doing?
So you see the tow truck put their tow thing down, is trying to back up and just trying to steal the car from a red light. Unsuccessful. I'm driving away now, lifting that bar back up. That's nuts. So they said that they've already been fined. Like, fine? Throw the guy. Oh, I'm sorry. This is San Francisco. You don't throw people in jail in that city. You just have to let the riffraff run through the streets, perpetually committing unnecessary crimes all over the place until nonsense ensues. I don't know. All right, well, I almost didn't cover this because I actually thought it was a repeat of the same thing. There was a VR augmented reality we looked at recently. Well, this isn't augmented reality. This is just a phone app. So you connect this to your amazing $900 vacuum cleaner, and the phone app, the phone sits on top of the vacuum, and with the app, you can now see, is your entire house clean or not? So the thing will go ahead and leave a mark where it's been so you can see all those little spots that you haven't cleaned. Like, why is it? Why do we even need this nonsense? Like, if you need an app to figure out where you have not vacuumed or what gap you need, you just need to do a better job of vacuuming. Okay, I'm pretty confident I don't need this app, and I'm pretty confident I've never run into a case where I've left gaps in my vacuuming. Really. And if you do leave a gap, what's it really matter that much to leave a tiny little gap in your vacuuming anyway? So this is a brand new vacuum. Here's another picture. You can see the app is basically showing you what you've missed and what you're not. And then, of course, this guy, did I see up here, this is using LiDAR? I don't know what in the hell they're doing. Yes. It won't be compatible with every handset since LiDAR is only available on a few models. They're using a LiDAR. Okay. LiDAR for your vacuum cleaners, guys. This is the world we're getting to. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Look at that. We missed stuff. The vacuums that do this start, it's in here somewhere. They start around $900, I believe it is. Oh, where's it at? Oh, 849 pounds. So, there you go. All for a phone app that will tell you if you've missed a spot. Well, of course, we have to skirt the labor laws every possible way. And now, of course, California is pushing these labor fees. New York City has minimum wage labor fees for an economy that's just too hard. And so this guy figured out how to get around the labor fees by hiring Filipino hostesses over Zoom to greet your customers and assign tables coming into the restaurant. Yes. So these guys here, I thought we had a video of it as well. But these guys here in New York City, they are outsourcing staff to the Philippines using screens with hostesses on Zoom calls instead of in-person employees to greet customers and help with checkout. The shops, which specialize in fried chicken and ramen, are taking advantage of the massive wealth gap between New York City, where minimum wage is $16 an hour, and a Southeast Asian nation where hourly pay is closer to $3.75. So here's the New York City owners running math on these numbers. You can kind of see what they're doing, and they're figuring out what it's going to take to hire a Filipino worker for $4 an hour instead of the 16, all by putting a simple computer with a Zoom application inside the front of the restaurant. Very fascinating. On a recent afternoon at Sanson Chicken in Long Island, a reporter for the Post was greeted by Pai, a 33-year-old hostess who works from her living room in the Philippine city of Subic. Pai declined to disclose how much she was paid, but said customers sometimes leave generous tips despite the fact she's not actually there in person. When she got $40 at the kitchen in Jersey City, she said, adding that she split tips with her manager and kitchen staff at the restaurant. Remote work from 8,500 miles away, and she still has to share her tips. Isn't that wonderful? So there you have it, guys. We are using technology to skirt the labor laws for restaurants now. You think your job is safe? Oh, no. A Filipino worker is still going to come in and take your wage at 1/4 of the cost. Well, guys, if you want to help support the channel, we do have some support methods. You can jump on over at Locals, switchedtolinux.locals.com. You can jump on over there. And we also have a Subscribe Star page at subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux. You can jump on over there and help support the channel with the various things that we are doing over here. With that, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.